Shedeur's performance the other night, and how have you seen him come along right out of this?
No, Shedeur, he did a great job the other night. Setting completion, moving the ball down the field, scoring touchdowns. That's all you can ask for a quarterback. He constantly growing each and every day, learning the offense, learning the scheme. And I'm excited for him. He got a bright.
When a Pro Bowl top 100 NFL receiver like Jerry Jeudy straight up admits that an undrafted rookie has one of the top arms in the league, you know something special is happening in Cleveland. But what you didn't see in those highlight reels was what went down during practice sessions. The moments where Shedeur Sanders was absolutely cooking veteran defenders and making throws that had coaches doing double takes. Jeudy didn't just compliment Sanders out of politeness. He witnessed firsthand why this kid might be the most dangerous sleeper pick in the entire draft class. And when Garrett himself pulled Sanders aside after practice with some very specific advice about staying patient because we're going to need you this season, you realize this isn't just rookie hype. This is a franchise-changing talent hiding in plain sight.
Those 2 touchdown passes by Shedeur, I'm sure you got a chance to watch the film or at least see highlights or whatever over a few times. What did you just think about the, just accuracy and the touch on those passes?
Like I said, Shedeur got a great arm. Very accurate. He threw 2 great accurate balls. And the last one was he went through all his progression. It was the last read, and for him as a young quarterback to be able to make those reads, make that progression. Kudos to him. Like I said, he's a great quarterback.
Look, I've been around this league long enough to know when players are just being politically correct with the media and when they're genuinely blown away by what they're seeing. Jerry Jeudy's reaction to Shedeur Sanders? That's pure, unfiltered respect from a guy who's caught passes from some of the best arms in the game. And trust me, when Jeudy says someone has one of the top arms for sure, that's not just teammate loyalty talking. That's a professional evaluation. But here's what's really got the Browns locker room buzzing, and what the mainstream media isn't talking about. During that interview with Mary Kay Cabot, Jeudy didn't just praise Sanders' arm strength. He broke down something that separates the future stars from the practice squad guys, the mental side of the game. He went through all his progressions. It was the last read, and for him as a young quarterback to be able to make those reads, make that progression, kudos to him. Now, let me break this down for you because this is huge. When veteran receivers start talking about a rookie's ability to work through progressions, they're essentially saying this kid processes information like a seasoned veteran. Most rookies panic under pressure, throw to their first read, or worse, throw into coverage because they can't process what the defense is showing them fast enough. But Sanders? He's sitting in that pocket, going through his reads methodically, and finding the open man even when it's his 4th or 5th option. That's not something you can teach overnight. That's natural football IQ combined with years of preparation. And it's exactly what separates college quarterbacks who flame out from those who become franchise cornerstones. Here's where it gets really interesting though, and why I think the Browns might have stumbled onto something special. Gage Lavardin, the undrafted rookie receiver who's been working with Sanders, gave us some inside information that reveals just how dedicated this kid is to his craft. He talked about how receivers need someone to throw to them, and quarterbacks need someone to catch their passes. It's a symbiotic relationship that builds chemistry. But what Lavardin said next should have every Browns fan excited. We're just living the dream, man. It's you got a guy who was drafted who's trying to prove himself, and then you got another undrafted guy. So we're just trying to value our time because we know not a lot of guys stick around too long. That's the mentality of guys who are hungry, who understand they're fighting for their NFL lives every single day. While the established starters might be going through the motions during certain practice drills, these guys are treating every rep like it's a playoff game. And that hunger, that desperation to prove themselves, often produces the most explosive breakout performances.
Hey Miles, you think like my spin worked on you?
No. It worked today. It was good. It would work on me though. He did it back to back too.
So like what you looking at like when you chasing it?
Shoot, I'm just looking at how to get upfield on you. I'm gonna send you back to where my guys are. You trying to get up and outside of me. If I cut that off, where you gonna go? You're not gonna run away from me. I'm gonna chase you down.
So like which way you going? Like
if you turn this way,
Now, let's talk about what Jerry Jeudy revealed about Sanders' accuracy and touch on those touchdown passes. He threw 2 great accurate balls, and the last one was he went through all his progressions. It was the last read. Think about what that means for a second. In a league where split-second decisions determine success or failure, Sanders is showing the composure to work through multiple reads and still deliver a perfect strike to his last option. That's Tom Brady level. Processing speed combined with the arm talent to execute at the highest level. And when a receiver of Jeudy's caliber, someone who's caught passes in the NFL for years and knows what separates good throws from great ones, starts talking about a rookie's accuracy and touch, you need to pay attention. But here's what's really got me excited about Sanders' potential, and it's something that flies under the radar when people talk about quarterback development. Jeudy mentioned that Sanders constantly growing each and every day, learning the offense, learning the scheme. That might sound like typical coach speak, but it's actually revealing something crucial about Sanders' approach to preparation. Most rookie quarterbacks come into the league thinking they can rely on their college systems or their natural arm talent. They struggle with the complexity of NFL schemes, the speed of NFL defenses, and the mental demands of processing information at this level. But Sanders is apparently attacking the playbook with the same intensity he brings to his physical preparation. And then there's the chemistry factor that Jeudy talked about. That's my dog. He's just somebody that people just gravitate to naturally. Leadership isn't something you can fake in an NFL locker room. These are grown men who've been playing this game at the highest levels for years. When they start gravitating toward a rookie, especially an undrafted one, it's because that player is bringing something special to the table. The way Jeudy describes their training sessions tells you everything you need to know about Sanders' work ethic. It was just a perfect little match. A veteran Pro Bowl receiver and an undrafted rookie pushing each other to get better every single day. That's how championship-level chemistry gets built. Now, here's where the Myles Garrett conversation becomes absolutely crucial to understanding what's really happening in Cleveland. After watching Sanders work in practice, Garrett, arguably the best defensive player on the team and one of the premier pass rushers in the entire league, pulled him aside for a very specific conversation about patience and opportunity. Eventually, we're going to need you this upcoming season. That's not just veteran encouragement. That's Myles Garrett, who goes against starting quarterbacks every day in practice, telling Sanders that he sees something special and believes the team is going to need his talents sooner rather than later. But the most revealing part of that conversation was when they talked about Sanders' mobility and pocket presence. Garrett was breaking down how he approaches pass rushing, talking about cutting off escape routes and forcing quarterbacks into bad decisions. The fact that he's having this detailed, technical conversation with Sanders tells you that Garrett sees him as more than just a developmental prospect. He sees him as someone who's going to be taking snaps that matter. When Garrett mentioned, "You do be getting faster the farther you go," he was acknowledging something that separates elite quarterbacks from average ones: the ability to accelerate and create separation even when the pocket breaks down. That's Russell Wilson-type mobility combined with the arm talent to make throws on the run. Look, I've seen too many rookies get hyped up during training camp only to disappear when the lights get bright and the games start counting. But there's something different about the way veteran players are talking about Sanders. This isn't the usual "he's got potential" talk that you hear about developmental quarterbacks. Jerry Jeudy is calling him a baller with a bright future in this league. He's praising his arm strength, his accuracy, his ability to read defenses, and his natural leadership qualities. Myles Garrett is having detailed technical conversations with him and telling him to stay ready because the team is going to need him. These aren't the types of endorsements you typically hear about undrafted rookies. This is the kind of praise that usually gets reserved for first-round picks who are expected to compete for starting jobs immediately. And here's what makes Sanders' situation so intriguing. He's flying completely under the radar while putting up the kind of performances that have veterans taking notice. While everyone's focused on the big-name quarterback battles happening around the league, Sanders is quietly building the kind of reputation that could make him this season's biggest breakout story. The Browns are heading into their matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles, and while most fans are focused on how their established starters will perform, I'm watching to see how much playing time Sanders gets and how he responds when the stakes are real. Because if Jerry Jeudy is right about Sanders having one of the top arms for sure, and if Myles Garrett is right about the team needing him this season, then Cleveland might have found their franchise quarterback hiding in plain sight. The question isn't whether Sanders has the talent to succeed at this level. The veterans who work with him every day have already answered that question. The question is whether he'll get the opportunity to show what he can do when the games start counting for real. And based on what we're hearing from inside that locker room, that opportunity might come a lot sooner than anyone expects. What do you think? Is Shedeur Sanders about to become this season's biggest surprise, or are we getting caught up in preseason hype? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications because this story is just getting started, and you won't want to miss what happens next.